Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're diving into something I think we can all deeply relate to, the absolute bone-deep exhaustion of modern life. We're going to be looking at a fascinating essay by Zhu Feng called The All-Rounder's Sorrow. It's this incredibly philosophical look into why we're all feeling so burned out, and it actually presents a really unique, utopian proposal for a completely different way to live. So let's just jump right in and see how the author breaks down the modern human condition.
Now let's start off with a pretty provocative question straight from the text. Are we doing what we like? Seriously, I want you to genuinely think about your morning commute today. Think about your daily routine, the emails, the endless meetings, the grocery runs. Did we actually choose these daily paths for ourselves? Is your daily grind what you're best at or your absolute favorite thing to do? Well, Shen Feng argues that for the vast majority of us, the answer is a resounding no way. It really forces us to stop and reflect on whether our day-to-day tasks are driven by passion or if they're just forced on us by the sheer necessity of surviving in the modern world.
All right, let's move into section 1, the all-rounder myth.
Look, there's a massive disconnect between the myth of human capability and the reality we're actually living. The text point out that while a tiny, microscopic fraction of humanity, we're talking maybe 0.1% here, might be natural, bona fide geniuses who can effortlessly understand and excel at everything, the rest of us, we fall into that 99.9%. We are what the author calls forced all-rounders. The fundamental problem is that life is short, but the amount of skills you need just to navigate modern existence is virtually limitless. We literally lack the time and energy to master anything completely. And because of that, we end up doing our tasks passively. It's like we're constantly treading water, just trying to keep our heads above this wave of endless demands without ever actually swimming forward.
Shui Feng really hits the nail on the head here. He says, only by giving total commitment to your strengths will be the best choice to go forward on the journey of life. He basically argues that our talents are a lot like our physical appearance, right? Everyone is unique. You can't force yourself to look like everyone else, and you definitely can't force yourself to be an expert in everything. According to the text, true fulfillment only happens when you figure out what you are naturally gifted at and then you pour yourself entirely into that one single pursuit rather than spreading yourself so desperately thin.
Which brings us to section 2, the tide of society.
So you might be wondering, if specializing is the ultimate dream, why are so many of us completely failing to do it? Well, the author observes that most of us are essentially just individual drops of water in a massive, turbulent ocean. We are helplessly propelled forward by the tide of society. We can't really choose our paths freely. Whether we like it or not, the harsh reality of surviving in a complex, expensive world forces us into this crazy variety of jobs, side gigs, and tasks that we honestly don't even enjoy. We're swept up in a current that demands we do a little bit of everything just to stay afloat.
And because of this societal tide, human existence just gets reduced to this passive, helpless struggle. The text puts it pretty bluntly. They work not to live, but primarily to survive. We basically sacrifice the chance to enjoy our time or develop our true passions because we're constantly forcing ourselves to learn a dozen disconnected things just to maintain a baseline of survival. It's a real tragedy at the heart of the modern human existence, sacrificing the joy of living just to ensure we keep existing.
Let's look at section 3, a life of 20 jobs.
To really ground this heavy philosophical concept, Shui Feng shares a super personal case study from his own life, spanning over 20 years living abroad. Now, this isn't a list of random people's careers, this is a list of distinct roles the author had to take on himself just to survive. Look at this: a shepherd, a farmer, an accountant, a statistician, a teacher, a translator, a cook, a laundryman, a civil servant, and the actual list goes on to include over 20 different roles. Running around for survival, relying totally on himself, meant he was forced into this constant, exhausting cycle of reinvention just to make ends meet.
But wait, it doesn't even stop at professional work. Compounding the stress of juggling 20 careers, he points out that surviving alone means you also have to personally handle every single mundane chore. Think about it. When you get home from work, you aren't actually resting. You instantly become the plumber fixing leaking pipes, the handyman patching the roof, the sanitation worker unclogging sewers, and the logistics manager buying groceries. It is an absolutely endless cycle of chores.
And what's the result of all this frantic, unending effort? Well, the ultimate tragedy of his experience is that despite putting in immense effort across all these fields, he admits he was unable to reach a first-class level in any single area. Actually, to put it in his words, he says he is fundamentally good at nothing. It's the profound kind of melancholic sorrow of the all-rounder, knowing a little bit about everything, but understanding nothing thoroughly, and ultimately feeling like you haven't even mastered your own life.
Okay, let's pivot to section 4, the second home solution.
In response to this universal burnout, the author outlines a highly specific utopian solution to totally restructure how we live and work. He calls it the second home. It's a proposed communal lifestyle modeled after what he calls the 1,000-year world of heaven. We're going to neutrally examine how this works today. Essentially, it's designed to entirely wipe out the burden of the forced all-rounder by making sure individuals only perform one single job they truly love and are naturally good at, while specialized community members handle literally all the daily chores and family care.
If we compare modern society with a second home right here, you can see the core mechanism is a radical division of labor. In modern society, you're forced to juggle multiple jobs to survive. You personally have to fix the pipes and cook, and you carry the immense, nonstop worry of supporting your elders and raising your kids. But contrast that with the second home framework. You choose exactly one job you excel at. The daily chores, handled entirely by designated specialists. Caregiving, specialized folks take on those worries for you. It's a complete and clean separation of your personal passions from the grinding logistics of everyday life.
And that perfectly sets up Section 5, Reclaiming Leisure Time.
The ultimate goal here isn't just about working more efficiently, it's about a complete and total lifestyle shift to change how we experience time. It breaks down into 3 steps. Step 1, you finish the one specific job you love each day. Step 2, you leave all the chores to the specialized community members. And step 3, this is the big one, you spend all your remaining time on entertainment and play. By just removing these trivial, exhausting tasks from our plates, the author believes we can finally unlock vast amounts of leisure time to simply enjoy the beauty and joy of existing. Xue Feng doesn't just see this as a convenient break from the daily grind. To him, this is the truest form of existence. He says, this is what can be called a human life, and it is also the most perfect way of life in the world. In his view, transforming life from a tragic struggle into an actual joy requires this exact kind of communal restructuring, where we finally stop trying to be everything to everyone and just allow ourselves to simply be. So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with the author's final lingering question. Do you want life to be simple, easy, and full of joy? It really asks us to look hard at our own daily grind. Is a life completely free of worries, leaky pipes, and endless chores actually possible through radical communal living? Or is this destined to remain a fascinating but ultimately out-of-reach utopian dream? Thank you so much for exploring these ideas with us today.